So 2 years ago, a movie called Alita Battle Angel released in theaters. It came out and made $401 million. It says on the numbers $401 million, but the real gross is $405 million. First, of course, that's probably excluding the re-release that only made $100,000 domestically, $128,000, and they didn't really track anything after that weekend, so we don't really know the true amount of money this movie made. But the media said this movie was going to be a big, massive, massive failure. Okay, on Blu-ray it made $23 million, and likely on streaming it made another similar amount on digital and streaming, especially of HBO as well, where probably made around a certain amount of money on there. But did it flop? Flop. So we'll be doing basically here. So it has $130 million box office here, and all we have to do is compare it to a very similar movie that made a very similar amount of money worldwide. What is that movie, you may ask? Well, that is Godzilla King of the Monsters, of course. Godzilla King of the Monsters is not considered a flop by Warner Bros. Despite having the same budget. Both movies had the same budget, and if you look at Godzilla King of the Monsters, it performed better domestically but performed worse internationally. Here, it can also compare it to the recent Godzilla vs. Kong 2, and Godzilla vs. Kong has a bigger budget. But about Godzilla vs. Kong, with that movie, you have basically, it has a smaller budget than even King of the Monsters, so it made needs far less money to make back. Then we have another movie, which is getting a sequel, actually. I had to think of its name, but, let's go on Wikipedia. And here we have a list of biggest box office flops in history. You can see Alita is not on here either, at all. Tenet is on here, but again, with Blu-ray sales and, of course, digital streaming sales, it's not really a failure. Again, Pixels is not actually a failure. It made $200 million off of an $88 million budget. And actually, Mulan fanboys, Mulan did make the list. So, Mulan fanboys and crybabies can cry all they want. Same thing of Onward and Call of the Wild. That one guy said Call of the Wild is not a flop, but Wikipedia considers Call of the Wild. I think it's up here. Here, the Call of the Wild. Oh, is it on? Oh, it is on this list. Yeah, Call of the Wild is on this list because it did flop. Okay, and it was projected to flop anyways. Even without the pandemic, it was projected to flop. Okay. Okay, yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. I finally remember the movie's name, but Edge of Tomorrow is one of those movies that is not considered a flop. And guess how much money Edge of Tomorrow made? It actually has a larger budget than Alita, but it made far less money worldwide than Alita by $40 million. If you're gonna go by other movies, you have Shazam, that came out. Okay, not Shazam Fury of the Gods, that's not out yet. But, Wikipedia's not considered Dumbo a flop, and Dumbo made far less money than Alita. I'm gonna get Shazam in here again. Dumbo same budget as Alita, and that's not considered a flop. So all the ways you look at it, Alita is not a flop. It is not a box office failure like the media was saying it was gonna be. Okay, all these movies made far less money. Okay, Shazam's getting a sequel. Okay, but that has an $85 million budget. Dumbo probably not gonna get a sequel because it flopped, because it didn't make a lot of money. But Dumbo is not really considered a box office failure. It barely made a teeny bit enough by Disney to not consider it a flop. But it didn't really do too well at the box office. When you compare it to Alita, it didn't do too well. Alita is not a flop compared to Godzilla. Godzilla and Alita still made money compared to Dumbo. And even if Edge of Tomorrow is confirmed getting a sequel, Edge of Tomorrow is confirmed getting a sequel. Well, a part 2 of the movie. I don't know why they're making a sequel, but it's getting a sequel. So and it made far less money than Alita and had a bigger budget. Okay, Edge of Tomorrow is getting a sequel. It's an unnamed sequel, but it is getting a sequel nonetheless. And Godzilla vs. Kong was not canceled despite having the same budget as Alita. So I don't understand why they don't want to make an Alita sequel. Everybody else is on board except for except for Disney, of course. We all know the ones behind it. Okay, the ones who own Fox now don't want to make a Alita sequel. But they'll probably make a Dumbo sequel anyways, because on Disney Plus, because we gotta milk those live action remakes, of course. And let's compare Alita to an actual flop, okay, an actual failure, and that's Tornado Dark Fate. Okay, Tornado Dark Fate made $185 million budget, and it did far worse than Alita, domestically and worldwide. Okay, and we can compare Alita to all of the woke failures of 2019, but I'll just bore you because I already did this hundreds of times on my older videos, comparing it to Dark Phoenix, comparing it to Dark Fate and Charlie's Angels and other movies on this list. And that's basically it. Goodbye.